Fidel Castro, a leader, a revolutionist, a communist. His decisions sparked controversy among many, and some may argue whether he practiced good ethics in doing what he did, in leading a revolution, whether his ethical stance provided a sustainable lifestyle for the people of Cuba. Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz, born August 13, 1926, was the legitimate son of Angel Castro, who had come to Cuba as a conscript through Spain and had amassed a fortune growing sugarcane for the U.S.-owned United Fruit Company, and of Lina Ruz Gonzalez, who, at the time of Fidel's birth, was the maid of Angel's first wife, Maria Luisa Antosa. Castro had assisted for education, persuading his parents, at the age of 67, to send him to school. He was sent to boarding school in Santiago de Cuba with his two brothers, Raul and Ramon. When Fidel was 15, his father dissolved his first marriage and wed Fidel's mother. In the same year, Fidel attended El Colegio de Leyes in Havana, where he began to form his worldview under the guidance of Spanish priests. The University of Havana, where Fidel arrived in 1945 to study law, was a hotbed of political activity. Fidel jumped into the fray and helped organize strikes and demonstrations. Therein began his desire to fight for what he thought was right. Fidel started practicing law and settled in Havana, where he set up a small law practice and often worked in low pay, defending penniless workers and peasants. In 1952, the young lawyer became a popular candidate for the left-wing Orthodox Party. As election day approached, Fidel Castro had a real chance of victory, but shortly before elections, his hopes of a political career were dashed by a coup led by former Cuban General Fulgencio Batista. As the discontent over the Batista coup grew, Castro abandoned his law practice and created an underground organization of supporters to actively overthrow Batista. On the 26th of July 1953, they attacked Moncada Barracks, Batista's largest garrison outside Santiago de Cuba. The attack was a failure with more than 60 of the 135 militants involved being killed. Castro and other surviving members of his group managed to escape to a part of the rugged Sierra Maestra Mountains, east of Santiago, where they were eventually discovered and captured. Fidel, along with his brother Raul, were both tried in the fall of 1953 and sentenced to prison for 15 years. While he was in prison, he continued to plot Batista's overthrow. After having served less than 2 years, Castro was released in May 1955 due to a general amnesty from Batista, who was under political pressure, and went as planned to Mexico. Once in Mexico, Castro reunited with other Cuban exiles and founded the 26th of July movement, named after the date of the failed attack on the Moncada Barracks. The goal remained the overthrow of Fulgencio Batista. On November 26, 1956, Castro and his group of 81 followers set out from Tuxpan, Veracruz, aboard the yacht Granma, for the purpose of starting a rebellion in Cuba. The rebels landed at December 2, 1956. Here they were met by the Cuban army, and most of Castro's men were killed, dispersed, or taken prisoner by Batista's forces. Those who survived were aided by people in the countryside and regrouped in Sierra Maestra Mountains in Orient province and organized under Fidel Castro's command. From their encampment in the Sierra Maestra Mountains, the 26th of July movement waged a guerrilla war against the Batista government. For the next 2 years, Castro continued guerrilla attacks and succeeded in gaining large numbers of volunteers. Using guerrilla warfare tactics, Castro and his supporters attacked Batista's forces, overtaking town after town. Batista quickly lost popular support and suffered numerous defeats. On January 1, 1959, Batista fled Cuba, and later that month, Manuel Urrutia was selected as president of the new government, and Castro was placed in charge of the military. However, by July 1959, Castro had effectively taken over as leader of Cuba, which he remained for the next 4 decades. During 1959 and 1960, Castro made radical changes in Cuba, including nationalizing industry, collectivizing agriculture, and seizing American-owned businesses and farms. Also, during these 2 years, Castro alienated the United States and established strong ties with the Soviet Union. Castro transformed Cuba into a communist country. The United States wanted Castro out of power. In one attempt to overthrow Castro, the U.S. sponsored the failed insertion of Cuban exiles into Cuba in April 1961, the Bay of Pigs invasion. Over the years, the U.S. has made hundreds of attempts to assassinate Castro, all with no success. In 1962, Cuba was the center of world focus when the U.S. discovered the construction site of Soviet nuclear missiles. The struggle that ensued between the U.S. and the Soviet Union, the Cuban Missile Crisis, brought the world the closest it ever came to nuclear war. The Cuban Revolution became an inspiration to other countries who sought political change in Latin America and other places worldwide. Fidel supported struggles in Vietnam, Chile, Nicaragua, and Angola.
Que con combatientes cubanos podrá contar el movimiento revolucionario en cualquier rincón de la tierra.
In 1975, as Angola moved towards independence from Portugal, the CIA, along with the apartheid government of South Africa, tried to bring down the new Angolan government. At the request of the Angolan president, Fidel sent troops to prevent the South African troops from attacking the capital. After 14 years of war, Fidel directed operations during the decisive battle that defeated the South African army. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, which placed Cuba in what was called the special period. Cuba's imports and exports dropped tremendously as its productivity gradually ground to a halt. Fidel rallied his country and pulled it out of this harsh period.
Un periodo especial, un periodo difícil, un periodo uno de los más difíciles de nuestra historia. ¿Por qué? Porque no hemos tenido que quedar solos frente al imperio, solitos. ¿Y qué hacía falta para quedarse solo frente al imperio? Había falta unidad, pero hacía falta valor, hacía falta patriotismo, habría falta espíritu revolucionario. Un pueblo débil, un pueblo blandengue, un pueblo cobarde, se rinde y vuelve a la esclavitud. Pero un pueblo digno, un pueblo valiente como nosotros no se rinde y no vuelve jamás a la esclavitud.
New agreements were formed with Canada and European countries, which saw investments in tourism, biotechnology, tobacco, nickel, pharmaceutical industry, and communications. Fidel oversaw many projects personally. Fidel Castro's overturn of Batista was considered ethical because he was not fighting for himself, he was fighting for a cause, for socialism. He wanted to better the life of his people, and so he did. 200,000 peasants were given titles to land they once worked. The price of public services dropped. New public work projects started. Rents were reduced by half. Students were sent into the mountains to teach peasants to read and write. People had access to popular education, health, and social justice. Castro had believed that history was on his side until the collapse of the Soviet Union. At this time, Castro told Cubans to preserve the revolution and to preserve socialism. Between the spring of 1992 and the spring of 1994, it seemed that the regime of Fidel Castro was finished. In a stunning reversal, Castro opened Cuba to foreign investment and foreign tourists and allowed US dollars to circulate freely. The economy improved with prostitution, corruption, and speculation flourished. Pope John Paul II visited Cuba in 1998. Castro treated him with reverence and respect. In December 1998, Castro formally reinstated Christmas Day as the official celebration for the first time since its abolition by the Communist Party in 1969. Castro struggled to sustain Cuba. This struggle turned to a personal struggle in July 2006 when Fidel Castro was felled by an intestinal condition and had to transfer power to his younger brother, Raúl Castro.
We will have to concede that we were firm, that we defended our convictions, that we defended our independence, that we wanted to do justice, that we were rebellious. And if David is remembered, because he fought Goliath, the Cubans, who constitute a much smaller David against a much bigger Goliath, will have to be remembered at least as much as David is remembered.